Hey everybody, Tom Smith, Wildrose Kennels, Oxford, Mississippi. Welcome to the Wildrose Way Podcast. Today we have a special guest who happened to come in town. We have Mr. Holloway Byrd for GUNNER Kennels in Nashville, Tennessee. He is the director for community marketing, correct?
Community marketing specialist, but yeah, that'll work.
Yeah.
I like director. Sounds
Director,
good.
yeah. Congratulations on your promotion. Just don't get any more money.
Yeah. Well, we'll go back home and see what we can do about it.
I'll text Addison.
Oh, yeah.
So, as you know, we're big fans of GUNNER Kennels. They're the safest kennel on the market. I use them in the back of my truck. The guys have them in the back of their trucks. We're all about keeping the dog safe. So you want a product that you can rely on with proven track record.
Mm-hmm.
So tell us, how did you get to GUNNER?
So kind of even rewinding all the way back, I think I probably, like a lot of people, saw GUNNER on Instagram and started following, loved to see the dogs and thought the kennels were really cool. And this would have been when I was in college. And then I was graduating undergrad and I was coming to Oxford, go to Ole Miss to get my MBA.
Hotty toddy.
Hotty toddy, come on. And I had one dog, Deuce, named after Deuce McAllister. And when I saw GUNNER Kennels, I was like, I would love to have one of those someday when I have a dog that isn't, a mutt that showed up on somebody's back porch. But then I was finishing up college and I was moving away and knew that I was going to be driving, a lot, especially on the weekends. And so thought probably, odds are you don't get in a wreck. But my thought was, what happens if I do, and what would I do to prevent that? And so that's when I got my first kennel. Loved it and loved like the accessories and every experience that I had, and really admired the company. And then while I was in Oxford, got my second dog, Boone. That would have been like that February of 23, I want to say, something like that. Got him a kennel, and then June of that same year is when I was kind of finishing up with my MBA. It was going to be done in August, and didn't really know what I was going to do, but I saw GUNNER posted online that they were hiring, and I looked at it and I was like, well, I can do that. I can probably do that really well, and we'll just see.
Yeah. And
then I applied and got an email from Virginia asking me to interview, and then they kept asking me to interview, and then they offered me the job. And so here we are, coming up on 2 years after that. I guess almost exactly 2 years ago is when I was interviewing, and then I started September 2023, I believe, doing CX, customer experience. And then about 6 months ago or so, more recent than that, I moved into marketing.
Okay, awesome. Yeah. Got to give a shout out to Virginia. Mm-hmm. You're awesome. She's always right on the job when I need something. Just quick email, get an answer back really fast. So she's just been awesome. So I think one of the cool things about GUNNER is Addison, the founder, started working on this while he was going to school at Ole Miss.
Yeah. He was driving down the road one day with his British Lab GUNNER in a, one of those really cheap kennels from like PetSmart or Petco or something like that. And he was replacing them every year, was tired of replacing them. I think one day like fell over in the back of his truck or something. And he was like, enough of this. I have too much invested in my dog and love my dog too much to not take care of him. And he thought, well, somebody ought to make a kennel that is going to keep him safe, keep him comfortable. And inspiration for the double wall rotomolding was, I believe, Yeti coolers. Mm-hmm. And they're built effectively the same way, and, prototyped it and, had it crash test and everything, passed the crash test first time with flying colors. But yeah, it all started in Oxford. And GUNNER's also how he met his wife, and one of those dogs that changed. He was Addison's dog of a lifetime, and all started right here, which was another plus for me. Is when I saw the story of the company online, I was like, man, I love Ole Miss too. So bingo.
Exactly. Like match made in heaven. Yeah. So Is there foam in between the walls, or is it hollow?
It's hollow.
It's hollow,
yeah.
And that's what helps with the cooling?
Yeah, and so it works the same way that a cooler does, having that layer of insulation. Air probably doesn't insulate quite as much as that foam does, but if we put foam in the walls of the kennel, it would weigh 200 pounds or something
like
crazy.
A Yeti cooler.
Yeah. And so it also, not having the foam in it, makes it a little bit less rigid, which is good. Make it out of a polymer rather than a metal, because metal or something more rigid can break or bend or whatever, shatter. But the polymer's got a little bit of give to it, so it will bend, not break. It's kind of what we say, and absorb that impact and that force, and not shatter.
Well, if you ever look at the floor of a car, that's all for flexibility and not rigid, so it doesn't crumple in a wreck. It's pretty neat, because I used to work in the auto plants and watch them press them and everything, and all the different the engineers come up with for the safety of the car. It was pretty interesting. So same thing, rigid, you want some waves and stuff like that in it.
Yeah.
So,
it's like you want some structure, but you don't want it to where it can't give.
Correct.
Because that energy's got to go somewhere, and you want it going somewhere safe and not, to the dog.
Yeah. Some of the pictures y'all put up on the wrecks these people have been in, and the crate is just like, dog's like, hey, what's up?
Yeah. I'm blown away pretty consistently. Like, I know it's safe, and I know that dogs have survived crazy accidents with it. But every time we get one of those, like, wonder, like, is the dog all right? And always is, which is just remarkable to me. And even if, and a thing I've thought about is, even if I never get in a wreck with my dogs, I have the peace of mind knowing that if something happens, like, they're all right. We've seen folks that had to, driver had to go to the hospital, which is terrible. But dog is shaken up, rattled and everything, like you would be, but safe. You don't have to worry about that.
Yeah. We had a client get rear-ended bad in his truck, and dogs are in the gunners, and they were fine. But that truck, back into that truck, looked terrible. Yeah. So it's all about safety when you're traveling with these dogs, like you said. And it's not only like my dogs, I have a lot of money in them, but I love my dogs. They're part of the family. So you want to keep them just safe as you would your kids or your wife or whatever. So I love that product.
Yeah.
So where'd you grow up?
Grew up in Jackson, Tennessee.
Okay.
Which is about 2 hours north of Oxford, on I-40 between Memphis and Nashville.
In the city, in the country?
In the city, it's kind of a sort of a rural town. I think that in the city is like 60,000, something like that. The county's got a population of about 100,000, and we moved to the house that my parents live in now when I was 6 years old, and it's a mile from the town square.
Okay.
So yeah.
Grew up hunting, fishing.
Grew up hunting and fishing, mostly hunting, and I always, growing up, really wanted to be out in the country more, because we had a yard and everything, but I always wanted to be able to get out and just like walk through the woods. But I'd go hunting with my dad, deer hunted a little bit when I was younger, and then turkey hunting. And then in 6th grade, I want to say it was, is when he took me on my first duck hunt. And we were hunting with a dog named Milo, who was a yellow lab. The only bird that was shot that day was a merganser.
Nice.
Yep. Common merganser. And Milo did not want to pick it up. And he got out there. He was excited, but when he got out there, didn't want to get it. He ends up getting it. And that was kind of where I got, I guess, just the bug, for duck hunting, yes, but also just dogs, especially hunting dogs. And they had another dog named Ranger, and both of them were just so fun to watch hunt. And especially in the times when they weren't perfect, when you see their personality come out and how differently they interact and how much they want to go do it. And I would probably hunt still without dogs, but not nearly as much.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I think about getting up early and being cold and getting wet, I'm like, duck breast is good, but it's not that good.
I agree.
I'll wrap it in bacon and put jalapeno and cream cheese in it, and that's awesome. But watching dogs work fires me up so much. It's just so fun to see.
Same thing. In January, I went to Oklahoma and hunted, and then about 10 days later, I hunted down here in the Delta. Well, I had just come out of a sling from shoulder surgery, so I couldn't shoot. I was just the dog guy, and I was fine with me. Watching, I always tell people, a bad dog can make a great hunt miserable. Mm-hmm. A good dog can make a bad hunt fun. Mm-hmm. And just being around really good dogs, you get accustomed to that. I had a lady tell me one time I was a dog snob. And I got to thinking about it. I was like, no, I love GSPs, bulldogs, mastiffs, basset hounds. I love them all. But I'm a dog behavior snob. Mm-hmm. Once you get used to a certain level of training, obedience, ability, all that, it's hard to go back. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
for sure.
And it's such the dogs. So I've had a handful of dogs in my life. My parents got a chocolate lab a few years before I was born, and she was my childhood dog. And she was probably the best trained dog that we had growing up, and she was just a good house dog. And then we had a couple of English Mastiffs that were also house dogs that didn't behave poorly necessarily. Like they just hung out and stayed still, but they weren't like trained to do anything. And then my older dog, Deuce, really hard-headed, didn't do the best job training him. My younger dog, Boone, just really, he has that desire to please that everybody talks about. And dealing with him, I realized it's just such, just so enjoyable to have a dog that's just going to hang out when you want him to hang out, but is going to go places and have fun. And Deuce is good when it comes to, he does everything that I want him to do. I can take him out to, sit on a patio at a restaurant or wherever you could take dogs in public, and he'll behave well and he's good with people and everything. But if if we're in a park or something, he's not the one I'm going to count on to sit still
around the other dogs.
Sit down a leash. But Boone, he'll just hang out right there. And it is, as an owner, more enjoyable, but as a person around other people's dogs. Like we have tons of dogs in the office. Lots of dogs come into the office. A bunch of them are great, especially the office dogs that are around dogs and have attention all the time. And I like all the dogs, most of them, I guess. But it's a whole lot easier to like being around dogs when they have good manners.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And like obedience is one thing, but just like a dog having manners makes
off switch.
Yeah.
The off switch.
Yeah. And then you can take them places and not be a nuisance. Yep. Like I was going to eat with a buddy from work the other day and brought one of my dogs and knew that he would be fine. And he just sat under my chair and was fine. And I like dogs, and so I like being able to have them with me wherever I go.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Me too. I pick one and go, or two, or six.
Yep.
But yeah, it's having those well-trained dogs. When people come in your house, and like when you come in my front door, there's a little foyer area in the kitchen and living rooms down there, and people will be hanging out. And I was like, I gotta let the dogs out. And they're like, there's dogs in here? I was like, yeah. They're doing what they're supposed to do. Their own place. I always tell people, if you do nothing else with your dog, teach it place. It transfers. I always say it's our best tool in our trainer toolbox because it just transfers so many locations and places. So, so you started. Where'd you go to your undergrad?
Union University in Jackson, Tennessee.
Okay. Did you do much hunting up there, duck hunting stuff, or did you have to go over to the Delta, West Tennessee?
In college, I didn't hunt a whole lot because didn't have, well, my dad and I weren't in a lease anymore. And so, didn't hunt a lot in college. There's a WMA I guess it's probably just right outside the city limits, called South Fork WMA. And I'd go in there sometimes and just like walk in, and it's a long walk, and I wouldn't see any birds.
Yeah.
And I'd go back home. But in high school, we hunted, started hunting Lake County. Windberg is the name of the town. And then a little bit in Missouri those years, but primarily West Tennessee.
Gotcha.
Close to Reelfoot, kind of close to the river, close to Tiger at WMA.
Reelfoot's on my bucket list to go hunt.
Yeah.
But hell, after everybody got shot there a couple years ago, I was like, I don't know about this. This public land hunting stuff's crazy.
Yeah.
That was a bad deal all around.
Yeah, I went on a couple hunts at Reelfoot last year. One was a weekend draw blind that somebody at the office got drawn for, and a handful of us went out. And we had, I don't know, 10 or 15 dozen decoys, which typically I would think we're set. That's a ton of decoys. And Reelfoot, I found out, is just a whole other ball game than what I'm used to hunting in, smaller fields or timber or whatever. And the birds just weren't looking at us, because you have somebody a few hundred yards away that's got 500 decoys out.
Yeah. And
it was just almost impossible to get them to look at you. I think we killed 2 birds that weekend. But then a few weeks later, we went on a guided hunt that was just a ton of fun. It was icy, and we boated in on this boat lane. Ice was where it wasn't broken up was 2 inches thick, and birds were moving pretty well. We had a good breakfast. Had Luke's dog Dexter with us, and he picked up most of the birds, if not all of them, and just a good all-around weekend.
Yeah.
And so beautiful out there. Like, it's a very unique environment with the cypress trees and everything, which I guess is just a result of how it was formed with the earthquakes and all.
Yep, with the river channel moving and everything.
Yeah, but that was, it's such a cool pocket of Tennessee that is unlike anywhere else in the state.
Yeah, because you think hunting cypress, you're thinking Georgia, Florida, way down south in the swamps, and they have this huge swamp, Reelfoot, over there with all these huge cypress trees, and it's definitely on my list. I just think it'd be fun, because sometimes I've hunted in Arkansas with some guides, and they might put 6 decoys out.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. I'm thinking, well, that's not gonna work. And then next thing you know, you're shooting birds.
Yeah.
Unless you're field hunting, like for specs or something, then you're gonna put a ton out, like normal or snows. But I was surprised that just 6 decoys worked that much.
Mm-hmm.
So, favorite place to hunt ducks.
Let's see. I haven't had many hunts that I look back on and think that, like, man, location wise, that was a banger hunt. I haven't hunted really in Arkansas. My favorite hunts that I've been on so far, I think, have a lot less to do with the place and more about just like the experience itself. And so we have Percy Priest Lake in Nashville, and we'll hunt a lot there, before work and everything. And I think that one is kind of, I guess, special to me, because it's what we've got, and it's the kind of place where you just get out and try to see what you can do.
Yeah.
Because around Middle Tennessee is where it starts getting real hilly, and there just aren't a lot of birds. And so I had a hunt this year where I fell in the water and
of course
dropped a buddy's gun in the water,
of course,
and was very cold. And it was before work, and we ended up killing a handful of birds. But hunts like that give you, the stories that you're going to tell for years. So I think Percy Priest will always be kind of fun to me, but really, like, location wise, probably of the places I've hunted so far, probably Reelfoot. As much for the birds as for, or I guess The birds, yes, but just the scenery and the location. And I grew up every year as a kid, we would go annually with my grandmother and go see the bald eagles. And there's this restaurant called Boyette's where you can get like all you can eat catfish, fried chicken, country ham. And
sign me up.
Yeah. And we'd go and we'd eat there and we'd go see the bald eagles. And so I think it's just the nostalgia factor for me.
Yeah.
And then seeing the sunrise or the sunset over the lake is special. And if we can shoot some birds, awesome. And it's, close to my hometown. So that's the big thing for me is the personal connection to the place.
I agree. I think a lot of for my 3 favorite spots is not so much how many birds you kill. Mm-hmm. It's who you're with and the scenery. Mm-hmm. Like North Platte River in Nebraska. Mm-hmm. Love that place. I mean, it's just so neat, and you see a ton of birds. You might not kill a ton. Mm-hmm. You're going to see a lot of birds. They're going to feed you like crazy. You're with great friends. You're talking smack. The guide's getting a wrestling match after the hunt one year. It was hilarious. They worked their tails off that day for us. And, South Texas out on the Matagorda Bay, cruising across the bay, pitch black, dark in an airboat. And then the sun comes up and you're back in a little oxbow or something, and the different species down there. So normally we'd kill our 3 top ones are redheads, pintails, and
blue-winged teal.
No, dang it, they got the white eye patch. I am drawing a complete blank, folks. They called them bald pates.
I don't know if I know. I might not know about those unless I just can't think about.
You got your phone, Dwayne?
What's the rest of the? What do they look like? Rest of the body?
Rust-colored. Mature ones have a rust-colored breast patch. I cannot believe I cannot think of the name of that dang duck. Widgeon. Thank you, Dwayne. Yeah. We got to give a shout out to Dwayne behind the camera back there. But yeah, I mean, one day we killed 4 of us. We killed our limited pintails. Mm-hmm. And then we had to sit there for 40 minutes and watching 20 and 30 just dropping decoys with no call and no nothing. Just not like it is here. Yeah. Where you got to call call them like crazy. Then the redheads came in. Mm-hmm. Boom. Got our 8 redheads. Then the widgeon came in. We had the 8th one down. Dixie's going out to get it. Looked stone dead. It was not. She got about 5 feet from it. It popped its head up, looked around, and flew off. So we were one shy. Yeah. We had already started picking up. It was like, we're not sitting out here. This has been a great day. You can't match that. More inland, you're going to get your teal and stuff like that. But that's a cool place. And my other place is back home with my buddies. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Because I've been hunting with Scuba Steve since 7th grade. Mm-hmm. So we've made a lot of hunts, and we've got a lot of interesting hunting stories that we're going to share here.
I love telling stories with all the folks that know the stories, that they were there too. Yep. And, but they'll still listen to you tell the story because everybody loves the story. Yep. And, that's, you can't beat that. What's your favorite duck?
Oh man. It's hard to move away from that big old green head, but I'd say pintail. Yeah. I think just so elegant.
Oh yeah.
That long neck, that sprig sticking out the back. That was pretty fun when I got to shoot my first pintail. I got my first canvas back in central Kentucky.
Really?
Yes. We had a couple ponds we hunted that we killed mallards, gadwall, both sets of teals, redheads, widgeon, pintails, almost all black ducks.
No way.
Central Kentucky, every morning we had to be careful because the first ducks in were black ducks, like clockwork.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was about maybe 2 acre cattle pond in the middle of a cattle pasture.
What was the limit on those in Kentucky?
1.
One.
Yeah. So we got our 1, and it's like, all right, boys, we got to wait till it's really, really light out. So we make sure we see those green heads because, at first light, they look and sound like a mallard.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that place was crazy. And I talked to my buddies up there. They said in the last 3 or 4 years, they maybe killed 30 or 40 ducks off that pond.
Wow.
Yeah. It's crazy. And my buddy's farm, for 3 years in a row, we had a group of about 20 to 30 redheads that would rest on his pond for like 2 months in central Kentucky.
I guess they got lost.
I guess they did, but they came back for like 3 years in a row. It was like, this is crazy.
Also impressive for them to keep making it, up and down the continent, I guess.
So, but have you ever hunted Canada?
I haven't.
Yeah, it needs to be on your bucket list.
That's up there for sure. Luke and Addison went to Canada for the Saskatoon photo shoot what was that, not this past May, but the previous May, and it was still like snowy in Canada. But yeah, it just looks awesome. And then in the process of putting all that together for the Saskatoon edition, kennel and food crate and all that, read up on the area and just how they do it, and it's so different there. And that's what I want to do more of, is experience in different ways of hunting.
Yeah. I went with some guys, and it was all do it yourself. We didn't have a guide. Kevin had gone up there bear hunting a couple of years and got to know a guy. He would rent us his lake house for $100 a piece for a week.
Deal.
Yeah. And Kevin had already met all these farmers. We just knock on the door. We take fresh apples to them from down in the States. And because back then they couldn't lease.
Really?
You couldn't lease.
And they can now?
I think so. But back then it was like first come, first serve if you have a relationship with them.
Yeah. That's what I was reading about was, can't remember the name of the guy that wrote the book, but their family for decades, they would take a trip from Minnesota, Michigan, one of those, drive up to Saskatoon, and they had like an old Chevy Blazer or something like that, and they would cover the seats in like plastic wrap and cover the floors and everything because everything was going to get muddy. And they would go out there and with a set of binoculars and look for where all the birds were coming in, and then figure out who owns that, go find them and say, hey, can I hunt your field in the morning? And if yes, then that's where you're setting up.
Yeah. We'd go knock on random doors. Well, come on in and let's talk about it. Have a cup of coffee. Just super nice folks up there. Just regular old country folks like we have down here in Mississippi. And yeah, go ahead. There's a bunch of them landing over in this one area. That's where I'd go. So, so they're kind of scouting for you too. But yeah, it's very interesting up there. And just the amount of birds, it's just nothing like I've ever seen. We got to kill, the limit was 8 dark geese, I think, and there were 4 of us. We killed 32 one day, all cacklers. That's a lot of bird cleaning, plus the ducks.
Oh yeah, that'll keep you busy.
Yeah, killed a couple specks that day, but yeah, we drive up there
from here.
No, I was living in Lexington at the time.
Okay.
But the guys I was going with were from Maryland. They would drive, pick me up in Illinois, and we'd drive the rest of the way, hauling the decoys, the guns, the shells, pulling the trailer. And we'd drive it straight through.
How far was that? Got to be.
Man, it was probably 20 hours from when they picked me up, 24. And we just take turns driving about every 4 hours.
For what I've heard, driving's kind of the only way to go unless you're going with a guide. Yeah, because you have to have a trailer.
Yeah, you have to have your stuff.
Yeah, and you have to have. I mean, of course, your gear, guns, and all that's going to take up a bunch of room. But you have to have a trailer. Yeah. Decoys, unless you're going with somebody that's got them.
Yeah, unless you know somebody up there you can rent them from, which I don't know if there's a lot of decoy rental places. Yeah, but yeah, so I met Kevin and Doug. I was over in Pennsylvania. It was Thanksgiving weekend, and it was the last day, and I found them online and called, and I hunted with them. Hunted the next year, and they go, man, go to Canada with us next year. I was like, sign me up.
Sign me up.
So we went a couple years in a row, and then I got busy with work and couldn't be gone 10 or 12 days. So I haven't been back since, but it's on my list. I want to go back and hunt in Alaska again. That's my first duck hunt was in Alaska.
Really?
Yeah, when I was stationed up there.
That's cool. What branch were you in?
Army.
Cool.
Yep. So Fairbanks, up where it's cold.
Yeah.
But season open was like September 1st. Me and my buddy went out. We killed like 4 ducks that first time. We're like, we're good. We're good at this.
Yep.
Come to find out, we weren't.
Yeah.
And my buddy had started hunting back home, so I left on terminal or PCS leave, and so I hunted while I was on leave before I went to Virginia. So, and then I didn't really hunt much while I was in the Army because I didn't have a dog because I was single and I was gone all the time. So as soon as I got out of the Army, I started duck hunting again. And had the sickness bad.
Yeah.
All the gadgets, all the toys, all the guns, duck meat's expensive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't want to price it by the pound.
Yeah. Whenever I think of buying a new piece of gear, I'm like, well, really this can just come from the groceries budget because it's for food and it just adds up. And, if I end up running out of money because I bought something cool, I'm like, well, that's just a bad quarter.
Yep.
We'll be back next quarter, just a down month.
Modern problems require modern solutions.
Yep. Alaska's one that I really want to hunt again, just because how different it is. And Snake River is one that I want to hunt in Idaho. Would love to hunt the Chesapeake Bay.
Yeah.
There's just so many different places in America that ducks go, which is crazy because, you have other things that you have to travel to hunt. Say you want to hunt, sheep. You can only go so many places to hunt sheep, and it's going to be in the mountains, and it's going to be cold, and it's probably going to be snowing. But with ducks, like, you can go most places or most states in America. Well, I guess all of them except for Hawaii have ducks.
Yeah.
In some form or fashion, and the hunting everywhere is going to be different. And
yeah, the setups, how many decoys you use, how you place your decoys. Yeah. I was talking to Dan Thiel from DU, and he said he got to hunt up in Northern California in some rice fields. He said it was unbelievable. He said it was one of the coolest hunts he'd ever been on.
I heard that I think it's like more ducks. California has the highest number of ducks harvested each year or something. And I think DU's, they might be like the biggest, forget how you put it. They raise the most money for DU every year. Oh, wow. And I don't think about it being a duck hunting state, but there are a ton of people and they have tons of ducks. And I don't know if California's this way, but I think like Oregon and Washington is just mallard city. Like I think their limit is, I could be wrong. I could just say something totally wrong on the podcast, but I think their limit's like 7 mallards.
I think Montana's crazy. Like that, 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And they have like an 80-day season.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't even know that.
Yeah. We've got a client who has a place out in Montana, and on his ranch, warm springs, water stays open all year. He sent me a picture. You could have walked across that pond on top of those ducks.
Wow.
He's like, you got to come out here and hunt. And I want to, but I want to be able to take my dog.
Right.
But man, it's a 3-day drive there, 3-day drive back. So you're going to lose 9-10 days to go out there and hunt. Or I could fly out there. I did train his dog, so it'd be kind of, it'd be like hunting with one of mine. Yeah.
Hey, do you ever fly with any of your dogs?
We have not. Mike has with some clients, on a PJ, but I have not flown with any dogs. Anybody who wants to take me on a PJ to go hunt, I'm available. Yep. But no, I usually just hook up the dog trailer and roll.
Yeah.
I fly F-250. I tell you someplace else, if you ever, this is more upland, but it's called Blixton Co. in Idaho. It's driven shooting, and it's set up just like in Scotland. The guns are down in these valleys, and the birds are coming off top. You're shooting like this, and just the dogs are going to see in one day, I don't know how many thousands of birds.
That's awesome.
And you're just dropping. And it is way cool because it is a true experience. From they get up and we get there, you have dinner in the morning, you pick your peg based upon short straw, long straw and stuff, and you go to your pegs, and you usually do about 5 drives a day. And the lunch, they have 2 chefs there. The lunches, meals are just incredible. So if y'all are looking for a great driven shooting experience, contact Lars or Jen at Blix & Co. Great friends of ours, and they're gonna treat you right. So what's next on your agenda?
I don't know, me personally, or Gunner, or
what do you have going on that you're looking forward to for the rest of the year?
So we're always looking at the next product launches and everything, and so we've got the bed coming up.
What? The bed? Yep. What? A dog bed?
Dog bed, sure enough.
New dog bed from Gunner.
I think the best dog bed in the world, which I might be biased about it, but I mean, we're kind of like with all of our other products, are doing things that people haven't done before. Like the inside of it is not a foam. It's that the plastic ramen material. So if it gets wet, it gets muddy, it doesn't matter. We're really excited about that one. And so that launches in a couple weeks, and then we'll be getting ready for, I think we've got 2 kennel colors coming out this year.
Sweet.
I think 2. Well, at least 2, and I don't know where we landed on a couple of others. And then the vest, which I don't know when I'm allowed to talk about it. So
we'll just kind of gloss over that one a little bit. Yeah. But follow Gunner on social media.
Yeah. If you're thinking about buying a vest before duck season, hang tight, because we'll have one of those. And so working on all that, we're moving into a new office, just 10, 15 minutes from where we are now. And we'll probably have kind of a kickoff party kind of thing there once we get moved in, just having folks come from the area or however far you want to come. I think that Shen's going to join us on that.
My wife's always up for a good weekend away.
Come on. Nashville's a fun place to hang out.
Mm-hmm.
It's busy and it's loud, and I'm not much for a big city, but it's, it's where the job is.
Yeah.
And so it's where I am for at least the time being. But yeah, that'll be fun. And then I'm trying to think, gonna do a pretty good bit of traveling. We've got a couple more puppy pickings that I'm going to this month. One here, one at Valley Way in Alabama. End of the month, we're going to the DU Expo in Memphis.
Yep.
And the Shen Film Festival will be there, also in Memphis in October. And then Field and Stream is doing a music festival. Have you heard about that?
Wow.
So that's going to be, I think that'll be really fun. It's going to be in South Carolina. They were wanting to do it last year. And then, it might have been right after the hurricane and everything was flooded. It was weather related and it just wasn't going to be feasible. And, but Field and Stream Music Fest I believe it's also in October. That one's going to be in South Carolina. We're sponsoring it. Lots of really great country music artists are going to be there. And so on, I guess, my end of things, getting ready for those from a community marketing perspective, which a lot of that is being there and talking to people and just being involved, which is the part that I really love. Today was one of my favorite things, that kind of event where I get to actually talk to, our partners and also people that are just getting their dog, or they have had their dog and they don't have a kennel yet, or maybe they do, but getting to talk to people about their dogs and kennels and hunting and everything is what I really love to do. So preparing for all those things. And then, of course, we're always working on, what we're going to put out content-wise. And then I might get lucky enough to be on a couple hunts for photo shoots and things like that. They might drag me out to Stuttgart or something.
That'd be just terrible, wouldn't
it? Somebody's got to do it.
It's work.
Yeah, I'm a team player.
Yeah, I'll sacrifice.
Yeah, if somebody's got to do it, I can be the guy, I guess. So that'll be a ton of fun. Those are the big things. And then after those, Black Friday comes up right after October, and that's always a huge thing.
Seaweed and it's the cycle.
Yeah.
But let's get back to a couple of the products.
Mm-hmm.
My favorite color is the Los Banos because it's fox red, and Mattis is fox red, so he matches really good with him. I like the powder blue too. That's Juice's. That's Juice's kennel that he has in the office there at the football stadium. And when I saw that red February, I was like, oh man, I was lucky enough to get a couple of food crates in the red. And I gave the staff some of my tan ones. I kept the red ones.
Yeah.
And this thing, being involved with you guys with all this, I got to say, I've just been so impressed with this dog bed. The dogs love it. I've found over the years they love the bolster around it to sit their head on, or they're, how dogs sleep. They're all over the place. But I like the firmness that it's not going to mash like the foam.
Yep.
It's going to have more spring to it to bounce back. It's great for their joints. Love the carrying handle. I was like, that's one of the first things I noticed. I was like, I like this because I move my dog beds around a lot, so it makes it so much easier. Water resistant and machine washable. Yeah. So what else are we looking for here, folks? This is one cool dog bed.
The whole idea with it and with all of our products is we have, almost everybody in the office has at least one dog. And so we have the experience of, basically all the dog products that are out there. We've used and seen what we like, what we don't like. And with the bed, like the food crate and the kennel and everything else, thought, what are the pain points that we see with products? And so our R&D team, I guess, probably had just made a list of things that are frustrating. And one of the really big things is assembly. So especially when you have a bed that's not, you don't just take it out of the box and it's ready to go.
Yep.
But most of the beds that have like a bolster, you have to assemble. You're dealing with 27 zippers, and it's just like tough to handle. And this was made to be easy to disassemble. It comes assembled, but whenever you want to wash it, you can just take out, there's basically a piece that goes around the bolster, take out that part of the 3D loop, and then zipper on the bottom. You can do it all one-handed, and it's just easy. It's portable. It's got the handle, which was kind of a point of contention. Addison, in a meeting with R&D, as far as I've heard it, he said, we've got to have a handle on it. And he just thought, of course, that's a thing that we've got to do. And a couple of guys were like, no, that's, why are we going to put a handle on it? That's going to be dumb. It's like, that's a thing that we've got to do, is have a handle. And I think you and I think two other people today said, oh, it's got a handle on it. That's awesome.
Yep.
Huh. Sure enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the first things I noticed about it.
The handle is the handle's awesome. It looks good. And we're gonna have, I don't know when it's actually gonna happen, but be able to personalize the handle. So it's gonna have a little leather sleeve kind of thing, 2 buttons on it that'll snap and have the dog's name engraved on it.
That's cool.
Yeah. We always want to make something for, the dogs.
Yeah, of course. I've got Mattis has a nameplate on his. Juice has one on his.
So we're gonna do it same as that. It's gonna be in this green color, a navy, and a sort of off-white. So I hadn't decided which one I want yet because I have a white dog and I have a black dog, and both of them shed, and no fabric is safe.
No.
So I might go with the green because it's kind of in the middle.
I definitely like the green, the off-white with red dogs, or if I have black dogs in the house. So I think this is kind of a good neutral color. It's going to be a little tougher on the black dogs.
Yeah. It's really easy to vacuum though.
Yeah.
Like we'll probably recommend doing, and it's, we've all kind of tested it, but we'll see how it goes when you've got hundreds or thousands of dogs laying on them with the hair and everything. But what seems to work best in terms of getting the hair off is vacuum it before putting it in the washing machine. And then, but yeah, and the inside of it with it being like a plastic polymer, it's not rigid like you think of when you think plastic, but it's of course not going to get hurt by water.
Yeah.
And so you can hose it off if dogs are going to be muddy or have an accident or something like that, and it's not going to be an issue.
You can hose it off and spray some smell good on it, put the cover back on it, whereas that foam, after a certain amount of time, it's just going to stink. Yeah. No matter what you do to it. I've laid mine in the sun. I've sprayed it with Febreze, put it back out in the sun, and it still smells like dog.
Like our orthopedic bed, which we make for the kennels, it has a memory foam insert, which is good for comfort, and the cover on the ortho bed is pretty water resistant. But tell folks, like, if your dog's going to be wet or muddy on it, just pull it out of the kennel, because water will seep in. And when that foam gets wet, it can get moldy. Another thing is it can get brittle. And so if you put it in the washing machine, then that foam on the inside is just going to
break apart.
Going to fall apart.
Yeah.
Or if you spray it off with a hose and then pick it up, it just gets brittle. And so it just falls apart under the weight of the water. And this won't do that. And I think over time you'll see the foam start to get compressed and sagging and everything. This won't do that, at least not as quickly. I think that after years, probably you'll have that divot
like
where the dog's
else,
laying in
like a bed, like a human bed.
Right. And I am curious. I'm not one of the engineers, so I don't know if it'll work this way. But if you can flip that insert the way that you can a mattress on a human bed.
Oh, never thought about that. It could be something
Maybe.
to check out.
Yeah. So, but yeah, it's just I think the best dog bed that's out there and
ever made.
Yeah. And the dogs seem to love it. My older dog, the first time that he saw it, he sniffed it a little bit, and then he just like planted his shoulder into it, flopped over, and that was it.
Well, Juice and Paige today, they immediately crawled up on him, curled up and went to sleep. So that's a good sign. Yeah. But yeah, some of the accessories y'all have. So you have the orthopedic bed. Like you said, you don't want that if the dog's gonna be wet and muddy and everything. But then you've got the
performance pad.
Performance pad, and that's great because it's got cushion. It's got holes in it for the water to drain down at the bottom of the kennel. You can just open up the pitcock thing and wash it out. Works great. You got the fans for them. You got the winter kit. You got all the cool accessories. The quack rack on top. Hook your bumpers on and store your stuff. So it's almost like a Molly. Yeah, it's very customizable. Whatever you want to do with your kennel, and that's one cool thing that I like with all your accessories.
Yeah, and everything is very purpose built. We don't want to release any product just because, and there have been a handful of things that I've heard people asking us to make, this or that like another company does. Why don't y'all make one of these? It's like, because they've made it and theirs is really good.
Yeah.
And we don't want to, we don't want to duplicate anything. If we're making a product, it's because there is something substantial, some substantial potential for improvement. So
there's something missing.
Yeah. And with each accessory that we have, they're all built for different purposes, and there probably aren't really any that I'd say everyone's got to have. You want it strapped down no matter what. Like I'm always going to say the straps. But when people ask what they need, I'm like, well, what kind of dog do you have? Where are you putting the kennel? If it's inside, if it's in the cab of the truck, or if it's in the back of an SUV, I'm going to say don't get an all-weather kit because that's for rain.
Yeah.
And you just don't need it. And same with, if it's going to go inside a vehicle, like, you could probably go ahead and get the orthopedic bed because it's less likely to get wet. And if it is going to be wet, just pull it out. Or the fan is my favorite just because it gets hot down here.
It's hot today.
Yeah. A few weeks ago on the phone with you talking about how a couple years ago when I was living down here, I decided to pick up running very briefly because I'd get going, and even early in the morning, the air is just like hot jello, and it's just trudging through water. And so I wouldn't, before I was working at Gunner, I didn't have the fans yet, and I would wait until it was dark outside to drive back to Jackson if I was going to visit my parents, or I would get up early in the morning while it's still cool to go back to my parents. Just because even, going fast on the road, it's hot. It makes me, I don't worry about the cold a lot with my dogs being in the South.
Hot's way worse on the dog than cold.
And from what I haven't run into any issues, so I haven't seen anything firsthand, but from what I've heard, like when things go wrong with heat, it happens pretty quick. With cold, you can see it coming on from what I understand. Yeah. And like, I know the signs to look out for there, but, the heat scares me with the dogs. Yep. So, that's like the fan, and then, always keeping water on hand, of course. Oh yeah. But yeah, I love the fan.
Yeah. So it's just an all around great product. And like you said, you mentioned earlier when we were just talking before we sat down, people outside of the hunting world are now coming to Gunner because of the safety factor.
Yeah.
They're traveling, like these show dogs. Some of these dogs are expensive. So they need to make sure they're protected, not just for the money because they love their dog, but, when you have that kind of investment, you want to protect it. And with your different sizes, what do you have? So you got the large, which is large. Oh, yeah. The G1 intermediate, which works great for our British Labradors. And then what's called one below that?
Medium, and then the small.
The small.
Yeah. So the small typically used for dogs up to about 30 pounds. Past that, go to the medium up to about 45 pounds. Past that, intermediate for dogs up to about 75 pounds. And then dogs bigger than that, I'll recommend the large. And our recommendation has been dogs up to 110 pounds for that, because I think that when we were testing it and everything, we couldn't really find dogs bigger and see how they fit. Yeah. But somebody posted a picture the other day of, I want to say it was an English Mastiff, 170 pound English Mastiff that rides in the large kennel. Wow. Which is just huge dog. And I grew up with 2 Mastiffs. I love those. And I've got to have another one at some point. And so I might see if I can get a smaller English Mastiff to be sure that they can fit. But yeah, my labs ride in the intermediates too. And that's for sure our most popular size, because most of the people buying kennels are hunters or have hunting breed dogs. And tend to fit best in the intermediate. But yeah, like you were saying, in the recent years, a lot more people are seeing them, and kind of why I bought my kennels was not because I had, lots of money in my dogs. I do when it comes to, vet bills or food or whatever. Yeah. But neither of them came from a breeder. They were just showed up and needed a home. And neither of them have any training or anything. I just love them though.
Yeah, they're part of your family. They're part of your pack.
And my mom, she said, "You spent how much on a kennel for that dog?" And I said, "I get it. I hear you. But think about this. If something happened to Deuce when we were on the way to Oxford, how much would we then be willing to pay to undo that?" Yeah. And he has I don't say he has no talents. He might not have any useful talents,
but he's got talent.
Yeah, I love him to death. He knows how to get away with some mischief. Wouldn't trade him for the world, but he's not one of the dogs that people have, tens of thousands of dollars in, training and everything else. And so people will come to shows and say, man, I love the product, but my dog is just whatever it is, doesn't hunt. That's say a golden doodle or something, golden retriever or labs that don't hunt. And
well, how much do you love that dog?
Yeah, and it's like most of them are hunting dogs, or at least hunting breeds, but safety on the road is for all dogs.
Yes.
And if you're not hunting, or if you're not like me, where I take my dogs almost everywhere I go, they're not going to be in the vehicle as much. But I kind of think of it as not a likelihood of the scenario, but the severity of it.
Yeah.
Where I probably won't need to have my dogs in a kennel, and I pray that I don't. But if that ever happens, God forbid, I want to know that they're safe.
Yep.
And when they're in the kennels, I don't worry about them.
Yeah. Like if I come home and something had happened to Mattis,
Mm-hmm.
my wife would skin me.
Mm-hmm.
There's no ifs, ands, buts about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's her little baby boy.
Mm-hmm.
So, all right. Well, we appreciate you coming out. We've had a great day. You got to talk to clients. You got to talk about your product. Captured audience. People who are buying dogs here, they love their dogs. They want to keep them safe. They got to see the new bed before everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
So that's going to be kind of fun. Going to be released in a couple weeks. Where can we find you all on the socials?
I should probably know. I think it's at GUNNER Kennels.
I know Instagram is.
Yeah, on Instagram, Gunner or GUNNER Kennels on Facebook. We're on TikTok too. Website is gunner.com, and you can see everything that we've got on there, everything that's currently available. You can get in touch with us if you ever have any questions or issues or anything. info@gunner.com, or the number, which is on our website, 844 GUNNER K. But we try to be super or DM us on any platform or comment or whatever. We try to be super reachable, so that if anybody has a comment or a concern or whatever it may be, they can get that answered quickly.
And we carry a lot of Gunner products here. Being one of your partners who are allowed to retail. We've always had kennels, food crates, performance pad, orthopedic pad, bumpers, tie down straps, and we can pretty much order anything. So you can find us at uklabs.com and wildrosetradingcompany.com for all your cool training and apparel needs. So with that, Holloway, I think we're going to wrap it up. Man, I appreciate it. I get to see you back in 2 weeks, and then that following weekend we'll be at Ducks.
Yeah, Ducks, yeah. Thanks for having me. I love being down here. This is my second time seeing the grounds, and always love to get to see you and see your dogs, because like we were saying earlier, your dogs are always just on it. And
usually, but they're still dogs.
I was talking earlier today, somebody about how you'll leave a dog with us at a show, and that whoever it is, they'll be following you. I think like Teddy especially, he's just stays,
Danny real bad too.
Just stays tracking you back to y'all's booth, but they're just such great dogs. Beautiful too, and a joy to be around. And the grounds are beautiful, and y'all are fun to hang out with. And so I really appreciate being able to come down here.
Yeah, that's a great thing, because we were set up right next to each other, so we put we'll showcase some of your products at our show when we're doing our demos. Put a dog in your booth. Mm-hmm. Dogs always bring people to the booth, and that's hands down my favorite show I do every year.
I love Seaweed.
So do I.
Charleston's such a cool city, and I got to go a couple weeks for the first time outside of the show, and it just has me wanting to go back.
I'd been before when I was stationed in Fort Stewart down in Georgia, and then we were doing Garden and Gun Jubilee, and Tina flew down. I mean, I was working all day. We got to go out to eat a couple times, so we went for our anniversary last year, and we just had a ball. Yeah, so cool. It was super fun. She had never been there. She'd never been to Savannah. We went there right after we got engaged, so she's getting to see some cool spots.
Yeah, so that's fun. It's always fun to be able to go places, especially with dogs, and call it work. Yeah, exactly. Like this weekend, I get to be in Oxford, which is my favorite town in the world, and call it work.
Yep. So, Yep. So, all right, with that, thanks everybody for watching. We'll see you in a couple weeks with a new episode, and we'll see you in the field.